Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Whitfield Analysis. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live from Next Gen Conservative Studios for Junior Factor Nation Radio and its sister company, my company, Next Gen Conservative Media. Thank you for joining me so much. It's great to be here. As always, uh, folks, the brand new telephone number again, if you want to call in, is 303-731-5583. Again, 303-731-5583. That's the telephone number. And if you would like to donate money to keep funding the phone number, because this won't be around for much longer unless you fund it, the email to reach me at is sam@calgarynation.com. Again, that email address is sam@calgarynation.com. Put in your subject donation interest, and you and I will correspond back and forth. So, anyway, speaking of Calgary Nation, I've been receiving quite a lot of hate for an article that I wrote on 2 weeks ago. I've been receiving lots of criticism on an article that I wrote 2 weeks ago, folks, for Calgary Nation on homosexuality and DOMA. And the individual that wrote to me, it doesn't really seem like he understood basically the message of the article. And my article was basically about how the homosexual community tends to believe that because DOMA was struck down, that all homophobic behavior will stop. And that was kind of the premise of my article, was that a lot of these homosexuals that I know of tend to believe that DOMA will end homophobic behavior. And so, and obviously it's not. Again, the government, the government has stopped institutionalized prejudice, but as a society, as individuals, there's always going to be prejudice out there. And the other big point of my article was that, hatred works both ways. I don't condone hatred of homosexuals, but I also brought up the fact that some homosexuals, in fact, a lot of them, minus the ones that listen to this show devoutly, tend to show hatred towards conservatives. And Christians, and that was the underlying point of the article that I wrote on Calgary Nation, and I just wanted to address this guy who called in. Zach just mentioned that his name is Robert Howard, and that is the guy who's been criticizing me. And to Robert and to anyone who may have misread my article, because I think that's what happened here. I've addressed this before, but I'll address it again. The point of my article was not so much about DOMA itself. But my point about DOMA was that there's hatred on both sides. I mean, I do know some straight people who are homophobic. I do know of. And, I don't condone that behavior. But I also know a lot of homosexuals who are heterophobic, who hate straight people. Case in point, uh, Aaron Carroll criticized Caden Cowger, and he was obviously homosexual, told Caden Cowger to go kill himself. You know? Another case in point that I cited in my article was the example of the liberal media and homosexual activists labeling Dan Cathy as a homophobe. And Dan Cathy, for those of you who don't know, he's the CEO of Chick-fil-A. His father, Truett Cathy, was the original founder back in like the 1950s. And the Truett Cathy, the Cathy family, is a very Christian family, and they believe in traditional values. And Dan Cathy stated that in a conference call last summer. And because of that, he got labeled a homophobe. He never made any homophobic slurs. He never called, anyone a faggot. He never called anyone a queer. He just stated, look guys, we're a Christian family that believes in traditional values. Well, as I've mentioned before in previous articles, that is very threatening to the radical fringe homosexuals. And so what do? They accuse Dan Cathy of being a homophobe. They tell everyone to boycott Chick-fil-A unfairly. And then, get this. So then, in response to that, the Tea Partiers do support Chick-fil-A Day because a lot of us read what Dan Cathy said. Obviously, he never made any homophobic comments. Obviously, all he said was that he's a Christian who believes in traditional family values. That's all he said. And so that's why Support Chick-fil-A Day started. But the gays and the liberal media spun that as a racist event. In fact, it was absurd because I saw multiple pictures on Facebook last year of them comparing of them taking photos of the lines of Tea Partiers out at Chick-fil-A, and they placed that photo right next to a Ku Klux Klan outing, and they made one of those meme headlines that said there's no difference between this and that. I mean, just absolutely absurd. So, I wrote my article 3 weeks ago about how there's a double standard. And Robert Howard commented on the Calgary Nation Facebook page, and he was all offended because he thought that I was spouting off homosexual hate. And, he claims, because I asked him if he read my entire article, and he says he did, but he obviously didn't, because if he did, he would know that the majority of what I said wasn't even about DOMA. It was about how there is a double standard. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not denying that some people are homophobic. I'm just saying that it works both ways. And to this Robert Howard guy, if you're listening to this either live, if you're listening to this live, which I doubt you are, but on the off chance you are, call me during a commercial break. Uh, I'm serious. During a commercial break, Robert, I'd love to talk to you. The number is 303-731-5583. Um, I would love to talk to you. And I would really like to set the record straight. But you want answers on why I said what I said in that article. I'm giving them to you. I'm giving them to you. So I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, but because it's like I said, the article was in 3 weeks ago, and uh, you know, the article has the whole DOMA thing has kind of come and gone a little bit. Um, but nevertheless, I am addressing this topic again. And let me just say this. This leads into a bigger topic that I want to talk about. And it's something that I have had to deal with a lot personally, and it's something that Caden Cowger has had to uh, deal with a lot personally. But it's this whole idea of our articles and our media sound bites of the radio show and our YouTube videos. They get taken out of context all the time by the liberal media on purpose. The liberal media, I honestly don't know how Caden has been able to put up with it for so long. Because for almost everything he says, the left either selectively edits it, or completely manipulates it to make him sound like a bigot, a racist, a Nazi, a homophobe, etc., etc. And, I haven't appeared on the Young Turks yet, and I haven't been targeted by Bill Maher. I have a feeling that as my, I don't want to say popularity because that's not the right word. As my presence among the liberal media does increase, I've already, I don't know if I told you this, Zach, or anyone else who's listening, but one some liberal trolls on YouTube have kind of given me the nickname of Caden Cowger's errand boy or Caden Cowger's media hitman. And I guess the reason being is because I always respond to the attackers who attack Caden Cowger on YouTube. And so therefore they've called me Caden Cowger's media hitman. Now I doubt I'm going to get as much popularity for what I've said. I doubt I'm going to get on the Bill Maher show. I doubt he's going to attack me. I doubt the Young Turks are. But if they do, let me tell you, I would be more than happy to go out to Los Angeles or to New York or to wherever the hell Bill Maher is, because I'm 18 now, and I would be more than happy to confront him on his show, on his own turf, about his statements about Caden Cowger. I mean, it's unfair what he's done to Caden Cowger by taking his comments out of context, but even more insulting, Bill Maher is just a plain old jackass. He really is. And that's something I do want to talk about after the commercial break, which we will be taking here shortly. But he's also criticized Sarah Palin and Sarah Palin's intellectually disabled 3-year-old child, and it's absolutely insulting. It's insulting. Anyway, folks, we've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to take a quick commercial break and get everything recomposed, and we'll be right back. Again, if you want to call in at any time during the show, please call during the commercial breaks. The telephone number is 303-731-5583. 303-731-5583. Yeah, let's try that again. 303-731-5583 is the telephone number. Please call during a commercial break. I would love to hear from you. And folks, we'll be right back. I've got an interesting story on the IRS scandal. That's starting to resurface again. We'll be right back. Call in with your comments right now, and I'll take your call during the commercial break. Alright, we'll be right back, folks. You're listening to the Whitfield Analysis. Don't go anywhere. If the left thinks they can pull one over me, they've got another thing coming. Yes, it's always good to hear Judas Priest. Great hit from the 80s. You know, I never really liked the 80s hair bands all that much, but that riff, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely incredible. Anyway, folks, how are you? Sam Whitfield here, broadcasting live. Now, folks, I do have to apologize for something real quick. I have to apologize in case yesterday's show. I'll just come out and say it. Yesterday's show probably wasn't the best that I've done. And the reason I say that is, I mean, I was, I lost focus. I was uh, kind of fumbling for words, and part of the reason for that is it actually has to do with our new phone system. And let me explain. And so, my phone system, the new phone number is configured with my Skype account. Um, so I have my Skype program running, and I have this software that it's kind of hard to explain exactly how it works, but it basically pumps the audio of Skype. Like, say I get a call, it's basically going to pump the Skype call audio into the Spreaker feed. Now, the thing about the software I'm running to do that is every time I speak, in fact, right now, I'm hearing echo of myself through my headphones, which is really weird, and it tends to throw you off. I mean, it was throwing me off all day yesterday because, like, I thought my audio settings were bad. And so, like, I was trying to spend yesterday. Part of the reason I was so distracted was, like, I kept fooling around with, like, all my audio settings during the show because the echo was driving me crazy. And I was worried that you guys were going to hear the echo, which is not something I want. Turns out, uh, the echo is only on my end, and it's not going to affect the listener end, as far as I know. And that's a big relief because, folks, uh, the audio quality of the show. I mean, after all, this is a radio show, but I take the uh, I take the sound quality of the show and how the show actually sounds very seriously because I've listened to podcasts and I've listened to radio shows where uh, you can tell the audio just isn't that great, and it really becomes distracting from the show. So that's always like a that's one of my biggest worries when doing the shows. How does the audio sound? I'm a nitpicker. And since this is live, folks, I don't always, I don't have the luxury of going back and changing the audio, and cleaning up like I do, in just a standard pre-recorded podcast. So, anyway, so I just wanted to apologize for the crappy show I had yesterday. And every once in a while you do have bad shows, but I'm hoping that today's show makes up for it. So, anyway, all right. Next topic, and this is something that I really want to dive in with analysis today. Folks, do you guys remember the IRS scandal, right? I mean, I know the liberal media has tried to, you know, kind of sweep this into the background, but, um, the IRS, uh, Tea Party surveillance scandal. The mainstream media has, uh, kind of tried to cover this up, and they want us to forget about it. But, Breitbart hasn't, and neither have I. And it's looking like from this article that I have up at Breitbart.com, it's looking like the IRS scandal might be related to the NSA in some response. Uh, so this is extremely interesting. So uh, let me read this article from Breitbart. The headline is uh, IRS scandal will widen to leaks, according to a congressman. In an exclusive interview with Breitbart News, Representative Mike Kelly, Republican from Pennsylvania, said that the next stages of the IRS scandal will likely focus on the tax agency's alleged abuse of power in areas like politically motivated audits and leaking of personal information. Quote, I think what we're going to find out, and I think that the deeper part is not so much the Tea Party and the Patriot and those people who were targeted, but the information that has been leaked. End quote. Kelly, a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, which is conducting one of the congressional investigations into the matter, said in a phone interview, quote, the information that the IRS has on file on people goes pretty deep into personal lives. It is being leaked out and given to people for very specific political reasons. I think that this is something that should be the most chilling things for Americans to understand. This is a branch of government, and it is under the executive branch, that can be used for lots of different intimidation elements. Think of what people have. Think of what they have on everyone. If they leak that out so the right person at the right time and the right movement that's looking to do something, they can completely destroy individuals. Kelly believes that the revelation of the IRS targeting of various conservative organizations was just the beginning of a larger scandal that will continue to unravel. That will continue unraveling. Excuse me. Kelly sees this burgeoning scandal cutting to the core of the IRS as a whole, and likely tying in more prominent Obama administration officials. Now that the targeting of conservative groups seeking nonprofit status has been exposed, Kelly thinks that these other elements of IRS scandal are going to come out. Kelly, a second-term congressman who rose to conservative prominence a little over a month ago when he berated the IRS in a committee hearing, also said alleged audit power abuse is likely to become a focus too. Quote, especially what we've seen happening now with the data collection and the depth to which the data collection is going, end quote, Kelly said. Who is getting this information? There were donor lists that were leaked out. Highly sensitive and private information was leaked out, end quote. Kelly said that the House Ways and Means Committee has had many whistleblowers and tipsters come forward with information and leads. But the committee's staff and members that need to follow each other through to its end before coming out with any more information. There's a lot more to come, Kelly said. Acting Commissioner Danny Wolfer was in last week, or maybe it was a little over a week ago. One of the things he says is that he thinks we're a couple months away from really finding things out. When he came in, he gave us kind of an update with boilerplate stuff of what you would do if you were going in, and what you were looking for, and what your desired outcomes would be. But he really didn't give us an update on the specifics at all. It was just more or less that he was on the job for now and that he was going to be working to get it all fixed. Now that's according to Kelly. Kelly added that he thinks there's so much more there. End quote. And we're having whistleblowers come out that are saying things now that we have to make sure everything we're hearing is in fact true and we can look into it, he said. Kelly also said that he gets the impression IRS officials do not care if they committed illegal activity. Well, no duh, folks. Quote, I got to tell you, from sitting across some of these folks who work for the Obama administration in the IRS, they really do believe they're above the law, he said. You look at them and you can tell by the way they talk to you. They kind of give you a patient answer and probably some talking points they were given and told. Just stick to this line and don't go any further. Kelly noted that the fact-finding mission is taking quite some time because there is a 75,000-page code with 90,000 people. I think 90,000 people is underestimating the number of people working for the agency. And now they've got an $11 billion budget and they're asking for another $1 billion. Part of is to implement the Affordable Care Act. The thing is growing, becoming too involved in our lives. And when you look at some of the questions that were asked, you've got to sit back and say to yourself, what the heck does this have to do with the IRS, and why am I being questioned this way? End quote. Quote, I understand people were looking to gain certain certifications so they were asked certain questions, but some of this stuff goes really deep. The fact that they say we also interviewed some progressive groups, that's a wink wink nod nod, I think was just a light run through. They didn't go anywhere near the depth of information they had when it came to the Tea Party Patriot groups. Okay, so all of that stuff I read was pretty much the interview with Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania. And he was the guy who was berating the head of the IRS about a month ago. Do you remember that? I mean, he was just absolutely outing this guy and really cleaning house. Again, he's absolutely brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, and I want to see maybe about getting him on the show, because I'm really following this. I'm really following this IRS stuff. Now, folks, what's interesting to me, and he doesn't spend too much time on this, but it's definitely apparent to me that the IRS scandal the IRS scandal is in some way related to the NSA scandal. Now, folks, I was digging through my archive of audio clips because I knew that there was something today that I absolutely had to play. I was digging through the soundbite roster last night, and I knew I wanted to cover this, but I didn't know what it was that I needed to play. And then it dawned on me that I needed to play this clip of Ed Schultz, basically saying that the IRS targeting the Tea Party was good. Do you remember when I played that? Ed Schultz on his radio show said that targeting the Tea Party was a good thing and needed to happen more. Let me play this clip back for you because after reading that article, there were a couple questions that I wanted to ask and a couple hypotheses I have. So anyway, let's play this clip real quick. This is Ed Schultz on his radio show a couple months back, basically saying how great it is that the IRS is targeting the Tea Party. Let's take a listen. See though, folks, it's not just about collecting taxes, and this is what Ed Schultz. I'm pretty much convinced is an idiot. I mean, he's part of he's over at MSLSD, so pretty much all of those guys over there are idiots. But there's something I'm gonna play this back real quick and put my commentary over it. Anyway, so let me play this again with my commentary. So beginning now. Right? Okay, this isn't just about auditing, though. The IRS was. This isn't just collecting taxes, Ed. The IRS was asking some very personal questions of these Tea Party Patriot members. things that didn't even have to do with taxes, from my understanding. So this isn't just about auditing, this is about surveillance. I have a question. What if what if this was a what if this was like a what if this was Air America that was getting audited like this? What if this was I don't know. What if this was MoveOn.org? What if this was the Occupy organization? Or oh, what's the name of George Soros's company? I can't remember. What if this was a progressive group? Would he be saying the same stuff the about this being good then? I don't know. I honestly don't. Obama has not wanted to simplify the tax code. He may say Obama at one point may have said that he's wanted to do that, but based on his actions, with this whole Obamacare thing, it's just going to make the tax code more complicated. Did they did they do that with Occupy Wall Street though? Did they do that with MoveOn.org? No. And see, that's my point. Ed Schultz is, saying that they're just following the money. They're just following the money. They're just following the money. Yet the IRS did not do that during the Occupy movement. And if they had, I suspect we'd be hearing the exact opposite argument from Ed Schultz. Oh, let's just do that. And yet they didn't do that with Occupy Wall Street. And it's interesting that they've come out. I don't know what these rules and regulations are, but from what I've heard, all the only time that the IRS has ever used these was to influence Tea Party was to use it to use Gestapo tactics against Tea Partiers and whatnot. It's absurd. It's absurd. Anyway, folks, I'm going to take another quick commercial break. Feel free to call in. 303-731-5583. 303-731-5583. 5583 is the telephone number. You're listening to the Whitfield Analysis on Junior Factor Nation, and I'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere.